You can, let me do the flat. Okay, you don't have to register. The vouchers and the maps that you I was explaining to her what you can wear with the truck. Yeah.
Walter, do you have the meeting, the Zoom thing? Okay, perfect. I'm going to, Kathy, I just got an email, is not going to be able to be here.
No, we just.
That one's a lot cheaper. That one's a lot cheaper and
Really.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, I have one of those too. Right. Yeah.
Well, you know,
with that,
it's sort of there's a whole lot going on because they're like, well, who's free? Stormwater runoff and golf course. Yeah, so I don't know. So tell me your story. Yeah.
No, nothing goes on. This is for vice.
That was your.
No, but I think there is a generic number.
Oh, really?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's a year's deal.
John, for those that don't have any kind of elected position or anything, the member, is there a member
Yep.
by shoulder board?
Yep.
So they all come up. And then.
I got an email back from District 7. They're having issues with help tickets and it's not sending a confirmation email.
Okay.
I'll forward what Mr. Ballard sent me
Okay,
because
That-
it's a district-wide problem and they're working on it.
okay.
But if you're submitting tickets, they said keep submitting them.
Okay,
They're receiving them, but their system isn't sending you back anything.
got it. I had sent one in the other day and didn't remember getting it. I thought I'd screwed up, and I put in to try and find any outstanding. And there was nothing showing. So, okay.
I made a mistake.
Well, with traffic, yeah, I'm hoping we will, because we're screwed.
Anyway, they got us to the dock.
We'll have to have a special meeting in December. We only need 12 now. So we've gotten a little bit of cleanup in the roster. But still.
John, can you hear me?
4, I think, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8. Fresnito's en route.
Okay.
I know.
And I
Susan.
can't be counted until I'm actually on your roster,
Yeah.
so.
Yep. Jeez. It took me an hour. It took me an hour from Long Point Road.
Wow.
So that I'm sure is hard.
See, I couldn't come here from Jones Ford, and I went by Starbucks on the way, and I was gonna take the back road through Daniel Island, but it said. the
Yeah,
bridge is
bridges,
out.
yeah,
So
they're rebuilding that. bridge.
That's what I'm like, where's the, cause I'm thinking, that's a big rod, I'm thinking, where's the freaking international? I've done this is the highest purpose for it so far. That's a good one.
Welcome. Yes, is this on?
How that could happen.
Yeah. We've had some rough weather here in Charleston, so it took an hour to get here from Mount Pleasant. We have a few folks I know en route. So we'll probably be a little bit later getting started here. Over here, so hopefully you can hear. Is the sound level okay?
I hear you perfectly. I hear you good.
I can hear you, John. This is Kathy. Can you hear me?
Yes, Walter has his laptop going with the primary audio and video, so it's over sort of away. I've just got the Zoom, or I have it on my iPad so I can kind of see what's going on, or who's joining.
Okay. Has Susan arrived yet?
Yes, I'm gonna introduce.
Well, here was the problem. This is West Action. Yeah, that. What, has. That's the whole company, they use $25.
My dad.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was wondering that was even real. But it appears they is.
Yes. So it makes it tighter.
Yeah, I will. The other one.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm trying to find a more annoying ringtone.
I think you, I think he's mastered that.
Louder and soft.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a story on that too. I had that ring for just a little while to my door. And I went through airport security and I put my phone on the conveyor belt. And all of a sudden they had like a whole block there. Yeah, I love it. Oh, finally, it's there. Get there.
Yeah, Mike Pascal called me and I talked to, oh gosh, I can't remember his name, but anyway, I talked to David, and he sort of coordinated everything with, Chief Soto.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you?
See, it's my birthday.
In your audience.
Yeah, that's
performing.
Yeah, they're going, let's look at my back. That's the reason you don't want me these meetings. Probably because I haven't been in so long. We'll see.
Well, this is the painful part. It's a lot more fun to get
I
out and do stuff like.
Well, I was trying to support to get a quorum.
Yeah, and I
This is the
appreciate
one
that.
Meeting that you needed.
I-
right? 'Cause I
exactly.
didn't want you stuck.
Exactly. That's right.
Looking out
No,
for
it
you,
ain't
man.
happening.
How long?
2 years. And yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, it's been good, but at some point it changes from a term into a sentence. Um, It's
Yeah, that's everything. Actually, 2 years is good. First year, you're all excited, kind of, get things going, and then second year, you're going, okay, kind of got things going, and then you're like, okay, I'm done.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, it's, we're starting to make progress and sort of getting things going again. COVID.
Oh, yeah. It did. Every week, every month.
Yeah.
One over there. And I couldn't take another Zoom meeting, or another freaking Teams meeting and online stuff. I couldn't take it. I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
There's so much of that. A little bit of it was okay. And then I'm like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Can't do it again.
Right.
I'm a people person, can't sit on a freaking computer.
Yeah. The folks at the Mount Pleasant Airport, Dave Bernanke, who out of Statesboro, is the guy that I've flown with the most.
Oh.
We're gonna delay the opening for.
Yeah.
people who are in there.
Yeah. We don't
send
quite
an
have.
album from this morning, so I'm playing that.
Oh, okay.
Is that coming through?
Yeah. Okay. Did you let the folks know? But he will pick me up at Mount Pleasant Airport sometime. And they, guys that commented about it takes the Civil Air Patrol a little bit longer to go through the clearance.
Oh, yeah, the process. There it is. I
Oh,
don't have it
nice.
yet, but
Nice. That is pretty.
I'm excited.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got- I'll tell you exactly. I got 10 days, 13 hours, 52 minutes, and 30 seconds. So
But who's kidding?
I've been going nuts. I'm bouncing off the walls. My wife. You're driving me crazy. I know. And Amazon keeps coming to my house with more loading crap.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I need this. Oh, I need this. Yeah. I was going through my fishing stuff though, and I was like, I got a lot more fishing stuff than I thought I had. I'm not telling my wife that.
Trying to find.
So listen, I don't have to do all this paperwork, right?
Oh, yeah. I sure as heck aren't. Y'all met, right? Yeah, okay. Joe is, FC. Running unopposed for FC.
Running unopposed, you will get my.
Here you go. I don't have to go around shaking hands.
No, none of that, none of that. I don't think that's usually been a big problem or the.
No, not too much.
Oh, that's good.
We did have one that was contested, I guess, two elections ago.
Mhm.
Oh, they.
Well, yeah,
You know,
it can be healthy.
It can, because then you don't feel like feel like the people are actually trying.
Up in,
Nor it being something that's sort of,
had a couple of guys in contest from 2-9 every year, every 2 years. FC becomes the VFC, VFC becomes the FC. 2 years later, it gets swapped. And nobody else, everybody else has a job. And then, but nobody's news company, they're all timing out.
And that's when things just go.
Yep.
Yep.
Nobody's.
Georgetown was having some problems with that.
And you gotta have some people that. New blood.
Yeah.
I rocked the world when I was.
Trying to-
I came in and frickin' all the people that replaced everybody. New people in. And it was not, it was blood, it was not fun.
Mhm.
Oh. I like it.
I thought I had another picture of,
You did good.
or looking at it from those,
Got engines you got?
it's a 300 gallon.
It's nice.
Yeah. David DePlaus, I don't know whether you, he was the FC, I guess, before me. And, it was his boat. He was ready to get
It's
out.
nice.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's one of those things, but we'll see. I just gotta figure out if I gotta learn how to drive it. I've driven my boat in a while.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
don't know, I
Ride
gotta
the
get my
bike.
head back into it.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, and I think I told you this, it's got the joystick.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I'm an arrogant A-type pilot ass, I'm like, well, I can do that, I can do anything, right? I was kind of working it, and it was not as easy as I thought. So I was kind of thinking, but that's what was going through the back of my mind. I'm a pilot, I can freaking do this, and I was like, I gotta get my head around it. I'm sure it'll come, but
Yeah.
it was a little more challenging than I thought.
Mhm.
Probably because I don't know the boat. I really haven't never done one.
Mhm.
But
Husto, who is, well, you can't see him online because of the slideshow that is going on now, but Justo Torres is the finance and public PA officer for us. Actually lives up in Chapel Hill,
we done.
but he keeps his boat down here. And his and mine are both at Safe Harbor City Boat Yard up in Wanda.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. He has a joystick on his. It's a 25-foot sportsman.
I think I saw a
Frontier,
picture of
yeah.
it on newsletter or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's a gadget, it's cool.
You really do, yeah.
Well, I had a buddy of mine, that's what I think that happened. He was better at home than he was. We come back, he put it said, he'd take half of this, I clean the boat, and that was like great. Even when I didn't go with him, sometimes like, man, I go, hey, man, I go, yeah, you guys want to do it over there. And you can wear, you have to do the pool.
That may be one of those trailers you walk.
You want to fly. Every one person they have to go out, right, to do that. And if you're interested in getting ready to take off to the watch, 4 hours at a time. But that's, I feel like those because it really fast.
So logistical or technical, what I'm talking. We have to, we can still try it soon because a forum, the meeting, but the advice. You've got, can we pull Husto and Kathy were on, are they still on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kathy, is Mike there with you by chance? More experience.
Well, I think John is on his way. Okay.
Not all of it, but I've done a lot.
There you go.
So I'm back.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, I'm here, John. I was having trouble with the mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you fine, Kathy. Is Mike there with you? No, he's on.
No,
Oh, he's on the boat. He's underway? He's underway? Mhm.
he is.
That's big window.
That was about 11 this morning.
So what kind of setup do you have here? Do you just use your iPad to?
Yeah, so what I have been doing is just using my laptop as the primary connection, but since Walter already had that, got a microphone because the microphone on that is crap. Right. And just a remote camera. But if Walter, I mean, if you have that, that's great. I can bring mine.
Yeah, I mean, I've got,
You probably have
I
much
do have,
better
I do have that stuff.
set up.
And, yeah, that's good. This TV doesn't have a camera on it.
It does not have a camera. We do have the ability to connect to it
Okay.
with HDMI cable, which is another reason.
Yeah,
Using
I have,
a laptop.
I have an adapter for that.
I gotta put this back in cool.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
that was cool.
Is Kathy talking? Kathy, you talking to us?
Sorry.
Hold on one second.
I still gotta get the guitars right outside. I
Okay,
had an issue with the heat.
Oh,
But it was a tiny little peg.
she's having a furnace put in, so she's probably,
okay.
all right.
Okay.
Mhm. I know John is en route, so hopefully somebody else is too.
Well, that. Traffic. Two similar to that. Yeah, because I thought with the dark and the rain, it would be better.
Oh, red. Another friend of the dean? Oh, really?
That's for the miracle. We have one guy.
Right, okay.
I found this when I was going through my stuff.
Okay. I meant to ask you about that. Good.
I did dean.
I don't know if I would have remembered if you asked me. It might have been better.
Really?
Have any more coming?
At least two.
Okay,
Diana and, Charles Albany.
okay.
Do you want to chew through, the rest of the meeting agenda and just move the agenda,
Yeah,
I
we
think
can
our
go ahead
election-
for the sake of time and get things going with reports, et cetera. So,
we can have a-
yeah, Kathy and Husto, we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. We are still a couple short. We're going to go ahead and at least get some of the reporting out of the way. If everybody can go ahead and get back in your seats. Dawn? if we can go ahead, we're gonna go ahead and do the reports, get some of that out of the way. And then when we have, I think, 3 more people coming. So if you and Susan can go ahead. All right.
Really?
All right. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Susan, is that already on? Susan? Okay, all right. If everyone can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would ask everyone to just take a moment of silence in lieu of an invocation, and keep in mind all of our servicemen here and abroad, and their family back home too. Thank you. We do have a couple of guests tonight with us. Carrie, would you like to stand and introduce yourself?
My name is Sarah Todd. I'm excited to join here. Family members who have helped us through this travel, so very excited to be here. And where are you living? I'm sorry. We live in our campus. You know what?
Carrie's brother is a member, Jamie Ramsey, and her dad is a longtime member, Jim Ramsey, who passed away. So very sorry for your loss. He had been quite an active participant, not just in the auxiliary, but the Navy League too. Okay. Good. Welcome back. Feel free to say anything you would like.
I was another member of the auxiliary, providing moral and transportation support.
Okay. William, welcome back. Okay. And not a guest by any stretch of the imagination, but longtime auxiliary flotilla member. Welcome back, Brett. So some of you may not have met Brett before, but he's been in the auxiliary quite a while. I actually met him 100 years ago diving at the aquarium together with Morgan, I guess around the same time frame. So glad to have you back. Welcome, John. Sign-in sheet is. The road just opens up just like that. Ah, perfect. We've got a couple more en route. We will postpone any of the actual meeting activities until we have a quorum. We have a couple of things to do tonight. First of all, and most important, the elections, but then also updating the bylaws too. So, welcome. Yes. 12. Okay, all right. We'll just go ahead with some of the reports and then come back to that. First of all, I guess if you didn't have a chance to see the Healy when it was in town, it's Icebreaker that was here in town. They were doing tours. I think, Dawn, I know you were able, I think, to go on that. So they successfully cleared the harbor of ice. So I think we're good for the rest of the year. It's always nice when we have an opportunity to see something like that. I guess it was a couple of years ago, one of the auxiliarists from 12-8 was on a deployment with the ship for I think 3 months as a culinary assistant. So 4.5 months.
20,000.
Wow. Wow. So, another great example of opportunities that we can have to sort of work with the active duty. Welcome. For those of you online, we're slowly having folks coming in now, so. All right. Couple of other things that I'll just mention. We had a QE, like our last one for the year, but it was a massive one. We had quite a few folks going through from this flotilla, the 12-8, as well as several others. I think we had a total of about 12. Husto did a very nice write-up that is in the newsletter. If you didn't have a chance to do that, take a few minutes and read it. I want to thank Walter and Husto in particular for all of their time and effort in getting boats out on the water, coxswain extraordinaire through this whole process. It's been quite an undertaking and an ordeal, but certainly worthwhile. I think most of the folks now in the division are current people that needed their 3-year requalifications. Also, just around the corner, will be Boat Crew Academy from a division-wide standpoint. Started the planning on that, but that's one of the things that Walter is wanting us to work on so that we have that in place beginning next year. If it is something that you were thinking about getting qualified for, let us know, either let me know, let Susan know, so that we can kind of keep track of that. If you are, and you haven't already started the TCO training, and that's telecommunications operator training, that's a good start. You're going to need to know a lot of that information. Susan started some of the training last month and is going to have some additional training tonight, but okay. One other thing, just so you know, Kathy Pascal is online tonight. Mike is not able to join us because he is somewhere on the Hamilton on a short deployment that they have. Mike has done a lot of work with them with the gangway petty officer of the watch standing. So they asked him if he would like to go for about a 7-day cruise with them. So kind of neat, fun things to be able to do. Had a MLEA exercise that was a sort of a short notice today, but Walter, you were involved with that. There were some pictures that were showing. For those in the room, you didn't get to see it, but we can get those out. But it was really more of a national public relations type of taking pictures for promotional brochures that they had asked for assistance on. So they brought photographers in, and anything you want to say on it?
Yeah, my acting career was spectacular but brief. And I think I've now moved into modeling. So I'd like to introduce the new auxiliary fishing uniform. The AFU. Yeah, it was the Gene threw his boat in the water over at Runway Point, and I took it out with a couple of guys from 12-8. We were asked to role play as civilians out fishing, and so they did some video and some stills of a recreational boat. Came over and we were taking pictures with the guy with the life jacket and just throwing in my fishing license and my boat registration and my library card and whatever. I was finding stuff in my wallet and realized it's still in it. And then they put the guy on our boat also dressed in the city. And they arrested him. So pictures of him taking them down, cuffing them, escorting them off the boat, and carrying them back to Flotilla.
Those couple marks on your wrist.
Well, those are old.
Oh.
So, a lot of fun, we were on the water by short notice, and I was just glad that I hadn't stayed in a couple of days to start with, so it was easy to work the part of the boat. That's usually local.
They usually that way well.
You know, when you love your work. Anyway, that was fun. For those of you out there in TV land, I'm not in, props tonight. I'm wearing what I wore on the boat today. We gotta go from the boat straight to work and then back over here. But good time, and I thought about changing out the uniform. I want to make the point that we are back into normal operation, and we are getting requests to do interesting stuff, things other than, you know, god awful meetings that we have to go through every night. We're getting tasking to go out and support local units that are not traditional customers of ours. This is not for the station, this is for the school. Headquarters who had hired a couple of ad agencies to come out and try and solve maybe the biggest problem in the Coast Guard. If you read the news, recruiting 10,000 people for what they need to man all the equipment, the stations, cutters that they have. They're parking cutters because they don't have to safely operate them on. So in that little way, I mean, one day on the water, we didn't get rained on, but maybe if somebody sees one of these ads and signs up for a 4-year hitchman at Coast Guard, we get a little bit closer to our overall goal of full manning and full building on all the assets. So just as a reminder, there are things to do in this organization beyond what you see in the and we try and spread these opportunities out, make them available to as many people as possible. You'll be seeing emails from me on Boat Crew Academy coming up, the Oxpad paddling qualification. I'll become a little bit of a tagger here, and I know we've got several others in the auxiliary already. So we do that. We've got cutter support. So you know, if you go out and offer to do something, you never know. They might ask you if you want to go out and ride around on a ship for a few days. So this was just my way of reminding everybody that we're back. Thank you.
And he also probably forgot to put the uniform in his car when he left this morning. So, we now have a quorum, so we will revert back to the agenda. The first item of business that we do need to take care of is a review and approval of the minutes. Minutes were included in the newsletter. Everyone should have received a copy of that. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, can we have a motion for approval? Susan, and second? Second by John. All those in favor? Opposed? Minutes are approved. Now comes the elections. We have 2 candidates running, one for Flotilla Commander, one for Vice Flotilla Commander. I asked each of them to take a few minutes just to give you an idea of their thoughts for the new year. We also have the ability to make nominations from the floor as long as a person, you've cleared it with that individual beforehand and they meet the qualifications. So, first of all, Joe, would you like to come up? And I would ask anybody in the room who's just sent me a note just a minute ago that they were having trouble hearing. This is our microphone for Husto and Kathy were online. So, if anyone is talking other than a brief comment, if you could just come up to the front so they can. Sure.
Okay, so I'm Joe Ego. I've been in the auxiliary since 2019. I was recruited forcefully by Mr. Brunk and waving airplanes and all kinds of stuff in front of me. And I'm glad he did. It was it's been a wonderful trip for me. I got very involved in the aviation side of things. And of course, this was during COVID and there wasn't a whole lot of flying, but there was a whole lot of people trying to get qualified and or keep their quals current, just like on the boat side. So I ended up being what they call the Assistant District Staff Officer for Aviation Personnel Management, which basically means I'm responsible for keeping track of all the quals for all the pilots or aviation people in District 7. For those of you that are new, District 7 runs from the North Carolina-South Carolina border all the way through South Carolina, 7/8 of Georgia, all of Florida, all of Puerto Rico, and all the way down to the Virgin Islands. So there's 4 air stations and that all have pilots associated with them. And so just to keep it short, build a website, make it easy for them to keep track of what's going on. And so that's been a lot of my primary job. Last year, I was asked by John if I would pick up a couple of FSO positions. Well, one specifically, FSOIS, information services, where, people that have to be putting in their hours into ops data and doing training and how to get to the websites and how to get logged on and stuff like that. And then he also asked me to take on HR, and HR is something that it's not hard, but it's time consuming, and you are a salesman, and you've got to get people to answer up, and then you got to keep them on the line, and you got to keep them going. So as FC, I'll be looking for some help, HR, and if not HR, an HR assistant, and definitely an IS assistant, and then maybe in a year or less, that people can take over that and free up some time. I know I'll be pretty busy pushing paper. And so my background was Navy, 23.5 years, air traffic control, and then I was a Federal Navy Marine Corps contractor for 27 years, working with SPAWAR in the shore-based air traffic control systems engineer. And since then, I've been fully retired, got rid of my airplanes, bought an RV, all the same. They say boats are bust out another 1,000, RVs are, $1,000 a wheel, a tire. And for the airplanes are, they call them aviation units, that's $1,000. So it's all the same. And but I'm looking forward to doing this. Myself and Susan had talked about, the future. We want to work hard on getting new people in, but even harder, we want to get our new people, all of our people, doing something that they really like doing, that the Coast Guard really needs. And, sometimes it sort of gets by, we come to a meeting every month, but what do we do? Well, somebody's got to put together a schedule. Somebody's got to put some tasks out there, points of contact, and start people, hey, can you be down here in uniform, but help these guys out for 3 or 4 hours? Yeah, so that's going to be a big push next year, is to get some kind of a scheduling thing going to where people can either go to the website and pick something and go do it, or be on the phone to be on call to go do things. So John's going to be a hard act to follow, but hopefully I'll have his help for a couple of days, and we'll go from there. You got any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Who?
Things will be brief, which I know is hard for me to do. I've been in the auxiliary since before 9/11. When I joined, we were still part of the Department of Transportation. So, and I spent a lot of time up in North Carolina. I already did some voting. I got involved almost immediately in the crew program, and I went straight from crew to coxswain, which I gave up 2 years ago. I spent a lot of time in North Carolina, relocated to South Carolina in 2016, was off on Lake Marion for a couple of years. And then my husband passed and I came down here with my grandchildren on. Of course, what else do you do? In fact, I've been with them for 2 days and I hope to get a good night's sleep tonight. It sure hasn't happened the past 2 days. I've held, of course, in the auxiliary. You've been in the auxiliary for over 20 years. You've held a number of positions. I've been a flotilla commander for a total of 3 years. I've held division offices since about the second year I was in Coast Guard. I was in HR, which at that time was personnel services. I was the SO for that. So I've been a flotilla officer, I've been a division officer, and I've also been an assistant to the district staff officer in both public education and member training. Goals. We've already talked about them. Encourage more member involvement. I want to expand member training options. If there's something you'd like to do, you can probably find a way to do it. If there's something you really enjoy doing before you join the auxiliary, you can probably find a way to do that. As most of you probably know, if you don't, you'll find out once you get in a class of mine, I was a school teacher. I'm a retired school teacher. So member training and public education, which are my two main things in the auxiliary. I've done it for a long time and I enjoy doing both of them. They're a lot of fun. A little tiring at the end of the day after 8 hours, but still fun. I want people to know that they don't necessarily have to have an instructor degree to be a part of public education classes. We're going to be doing more every year with working with children, and all you need is one instructor for that, and then people to help put on the life jackets and work with it, which is really a lot of fun. We hope to be in preschools this next year, and then after that more. Joe and I together, I was an information services officer for about 3 years, right prior to Aux Data, which I considered equivalent to COVID and government shutdown for 10 years. But we're both very, Joe especially, but I too, I've worked with it for so long. I'd love to give people a one-on-one. I've done a couple of one-on-one trainings to try to get over some of the hassle some people have getting data in. And I'm happy to do one-on-one training. And the only other thing is at what Walter's talked about, we have a really unique situation here. The Coast Guard is expanding their presence in this area and they need lots of help. And if you like doing that, then we can certainly work you in with that. And right now we are running a telecommunications class, which is good for both getting going into crew, as John just said, but also for doing watch standing. So if you're interested in either one of those, I'm running a class right now, but I just started it last month. So it certainly is plenty of time to get involved. It's not go to 3 classes and get signed off. It's a deal. It's an important deal. When you're on the radio, you are the Coast Guard, and you have to know how to do it right, and you have to be able to do it thoroughly. So anybody wants some help, and I'm also willing to do one-on-one training as well as class training. And that's about it, I think. Okay.
Okay. Walter, just if I get out of line on the procedural process with this,
Yep.
script for the election.
See, you give him one day on camera and he is an expert with scripts and everything else.
No, you'll be fine. Walter hasn't memorized. This is the last of 7 elections. That, the division is going to be. So,
Our process for this is, it, only members who are present can vote. The procedure is for it to be a secret ballot election unless it is uncontested. We'll vote first for Flotilla Commander, open it up for additional nominations from the floor. Following that, vote for Vice Flotilla Commander. Our change of watch ceremony this year will be as a part of our January meeting. So what we will do after the elections is to have the pledge administered. Technically, the office change happens the 1st of January. Since our change of watch ceremony won't be until the 3rd week, we'll go ahead and do the pledge. We'll have the rest, the frocking, the rest of the process at the January change of watch ceremony. So, first of all, the Flotilla Commander election. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, then we have a motion to close. Yes. Okay.
Second.
Bill Garvey and,
I'll second.
okay. Would one of
Rich just
you?
wants proof in the minutes.
Yeah, I just want
That's
to.
right.
That's right.
Do you mind just jotting down the people making? So Bill Garvey, motion, right, Brandon second. Unless anyone objects, since we only have one nominee, we will do a voice vote. Or is it? Okay. Or show of hands. All those in favor of electing Joe Ego as Flotilla Commander, members present, raise your hands. Everyone do. Are there any opposed? Just to make sure. We have 15. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vice Flotilla Commander. Are there any additional nominations from the floor? Hearing none, can we have a motion to close nominations? Second. Good. All those in favor of closing the nominations? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All those in favor of electing Susan White as Vice Flotilla Commander for the next year, please raise your hands. Okay. Any opposed? Congratulations, Susan. You can both come forward, please. Well, individually or both.
You swear in the second.
Swear me together.
Hopefully those online can hear. I have the microphone with me. Joe and Susan, you have offered your talents and services in the interest of a better Coast Guard auxiliary. The pledge you're about to take admits you to an office of greater responsibilities and high honor. Along with this honor, you must be prepared to accept certain obligations as well as the administrative and supervisory responsibilities of your office. Your task is to develop the auxiliary programs to the maximum efficiency that conditions permit. You're expected to encourage closer liaison between the auxiliary and local Coast Guard units, constantly reminding auxiliaries that their actions reflect not only on the auxiliary, but also on the Coast Guard. As a leader, you're charged with maintaining high standards in all auxiliary programs, never compromising honesty and integrity. If everyone will please rise. With full realization of the demands of your office in terms of time, travel, and dedication, if you're willing to accept this honor, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joe Ego,
Solemnly and sincerely pledge myself
solemnly and sincerely pledge myself
to support the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary
to support the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary
and its purposes,
and its purposes,
to promote its authorized activities,
to promote its authorized activities,
to properly discharge the duties of my office,
to properly discharge the duties of my office,
and to abide by the governing policies
and to abide by the governing policies
established by the Commandant of the United States Coast Guard.
of the United States Coast Guard.
Congratulations.
Are you all pictured out already?
That's all right, I'm hourly.
And one for.
Yeah.
Thank you. A little bit later, we will have one other piece of business in the new business section to vote on as well. That'll be on the bylaws. Awards, a couple of, not a lot to cover this time. First of all, though, Mr. Garvey, would you mind coming forward? Yes. At the last meeting, Bill received a team commendation award without ribbon for his work with the newsletter at a national level. Bill is on staff for the national level and has done a phenomenal job with publications with that. So I did not have this to go with it, so. The other two things, Dawn, congratulations on recertification as boat crew. And Husto, who is with us online from Raleigh, I guess. Let's see the NC State in the background. Either Raleigh or Chapel Hill, depending on whether you're still at work or at home. But Husto qualified as coxswain this last QE process. So congratulations. At some point, the certificate will come through, but I have no idea how long that will take. But a lot of hard work on both of your parts and getting through that, getting that done. And again, Husto and Walter, thank you both for all of your efforts to make that work for everybody. Covered most of the things I was going to mention, but the one thing, we've talked about several different things tonight, different opportunities that people are doing. You know, Mike on the cutter as we speak, the opportunity today. That's just the tip of what I think is headed our way in terms of opportunities. The recruiting challenges that were talked about earlier. Coast Guard is unique with military organizations and having the auxiliary, which is basically a free support network to pick up some of the shortfalls that they have. We went through COVID where we were doing nothing. It created a big gap in our relations with the active duty, in part because people were coming in that had never worked with the auxiliary, didn't really know us, didn't really understand us. That's all changing. And I think we're going to be asked to do more and more. The challenge is for us to be ready, be prepared, and put our best foot forward when we have that opportunity. So all kinds of things. We've touched on some of those earlier. Think about things that you'd like to get involved with, different programs. And let's get off to a great start with our new leadership starting the first of the year. Last thing I would ask for those who are staff officers this year, one of the things that we'll be going through the first of the year is the budget process. If existing staff officers can think about what they have done and what they may see, whether they're going to continue into those roles next year or not, I think it would be good for the leadership next year in those roles. If there are things that we need to budget for, let's talk about it. Let's plan for it going into January, so we don't necessarily have to just roll what we did this year forward. That's a good baseline, but there may be other things that we want to do or need to do, and it's a lot easier to budget for that right from the very beginning. Do have a couple of upcoming events. More information will be coming out. The blood drive in December. We have done that for a number of years now in conjunction with Toys for Tots. Don't need to donate blood to donate a toy. So while you're out catching all those Black Friday specials, pick up a toy or a couple toys. If you can't make it to the blood connection, let us know. Some of us would be happy to pick up the toys and take them. But Kathy will be getting that firmed up, and more information will be coming out on that. Same thing, the holiday party, more information will be coming out on that. Dawn will talk about that, I think, in a little bit. But that will be in lieu of the regular December meeting. Boat show in January. William has actually been working on that. That's something we've done as a public affairs event in conjunction with 12-8. So more information will be coming out on that. That's it for my comments. Dawn, you want to come up for officer reports?
For those of you who don't know, I'm Dawn and I am the current Vice Flotilla Commander until Susan takes over. Let's see, if you are an officer and have a staff officer update on your report, when I call off your office, if you could just make any amendments to your report or say, I have nothing new to add. Husto, Finance.
If you haven't paid your dues, pay your dues. Otherwise, nothing to add.
Pay your dues. Pay your dues, he says. And Public Affairs,
Nothing new for public affairs.
nothing new. Okay. Joey Go, Human Resources,
Nothing new.
nothing new. And IS, Information Systems,
Nothing new. Read the newsletter. I try to put it, much great information in there to remind people and inform them about, going one-on-one, but if they need to go one-on-one, I'll be happy to do it.
another fabulous write-up. You definitely need to take a look at how to report your hours and stuff. Definitely read that. John Swink, Operations. Susan White, Public Education.
We'll be starting our classes third Saturday of every month as usual in Daniel Island Library, except for February, which had to be moved to the fourth Saturday of the month, because they have early voting, and the Saturday of the month. For, they're having early voting in the room that we need to do. So we have been moved just for February to the fourth, Saturday of the month. Also, as a byline of public education, we have been working, as you know, with the Island Change Club. They have several things, and they are having an event the 4th of December, 4th, 7th at the Change Club. And one of the things they'll be showing is some new games that I asked for volunteer over there to do. We have a solution game that they have put together at, and then we also have one that I kind of presented a number of years ago at North, where you have a cutout of a person and you get people trying to throw a lifeline to the person without being hit. But people really enjoyed it. More of a PA event, but anyway, I'm going to be there on the 4th.
Bob Gerber, program visitor, where is he? Nothing new, and vessel examinations. Okay, thank you. John Frazanito, we have materials.
Nothing in the materials, navigation systems.
Mm-hmm.
We just completed a 5-week workshop. There's a number of members that have held NS positions, but they have some qualifications. So we gave them the workshop. We figured out a way that we were gonna make people age verified. We're gonna have the division SO give the test and do the sign-in. We're currently training them and we're setting it up. Probably come out this spring.
Wonderful. And for myself with marine safety, nothing new to add for that or communication services. Scott Heisler, do we have him? We do not. No updates for diversity. Rhett Myers, communications. Thank you. And Mike is not around to update anything. Kathy, I know we've already voted and asked for amendments, but do you have anything to add to the minutes?
Nope, nothing to add. Thank you.
Okay. Now, would this be a good time to ask about okay. We are trying to plan our holiday party, which will be in lieu of our regular monthly meeting, the 3rd Thursday of December, which is, anybody know that date? Thank you. We usually have it at the Wando River Grill, but we're exploring other options, most of which have fallen through, but someone did present a suggestion to have a potluck dinner instead that we could possibly have at Church Street or wherever we can have it. So we kind of want to gauge if we want to stick with our standard and try to get Wando, or are we going to do a potluck? Now, the difference is there is at Wando, you do have the appetizers that we try to cover with our limited budget, and you have to pay for your own meals, and then you can order alcohol. If we did a potluck, it would probably bring your own. So just some things to consider. So would we want to take that to a vote? Can we have a motion to take it to a vote? Restaurant or
Have a show of hands.
show of hands? Good. Sounds good.
Raise your hand. Wando River.
1, 2, was that a hand? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Potluck? 1, 2. How about you two? Kathy and Husto, do you have input?
I like potluck.
Okay, so 3 for potluck.
Add me to the Wando River Grill list.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, Wando River wins. So we did, take that suggestion. But we will stay at Wando, providing we can secure that location. And that is all I have tonight. Nice.
Mine's gonna stuff spread everywhere. One last thing I will mention, in terms of comments, beginning next year, we all are required to have a uniform inspection done. Joe, that will be one of the things that you will. So, it can be in the uniform of the individual's choice, whether it's TROPS, whether it's ODU. But at some point during the year, I'd suggest doing it early. Everyone, and that will be documented, I'm sure, somewhere, and I'll look at it too. But just keep that in mind. More information. I'm sorry.
Will we do the uniform in January?
Yes, TROPS.
I'll go, right?
You'll go.
I'll do the.
Do the, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
And if we have that active duty number there, I think that's fun to do.
okay.
I will make sure we have it.
I'm sure we will. Okay.
I'll go first, when I get to the number.
Do we have any old business? Hearing none, new business. I have one item. I sent out a draft of the standing rules to everyone. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look at that. Standing rules are something that the only thing that we have been operating under is an unsigned copy that I found in the Flotilla Gmail folder. So we need to update them every 5 years, I think, anyway. So why not go ahead and do that? The only modifications to what we had that we can't verify was actually documented. I think I spelled out in an email to everyone. The primary things would be if it is approved by our chain of leadership and DIROCS, my suggestion is that we approve a 20% quorum level instead of the 25%. They may not approve it, but it gives us a little bit more leeway if we have traffic backups, which could happen, maybe. Or other things, because we do have members who are out of town and aren't able to always attend the meetings. So one change was going from 25 to 20, subject to the approval of chain of leadership and the DIROCS.
Hi, it's safe and sound.
The other change, dues was put down or listed as September. I'm suggesting backing that up to August, just to allow a little bit more leeway with disenrollment process if we have people who don't pay. We have had a an amount that Flotilla commander can approve that's not budgeted of up to $100. I think that's fine. Historically, at least the last several years, we've done a pretty good job of anticipating things, budgeting for it, and then as long as we stay within the approved budget, we don't need to get approval for additional expenditures. If we exceed that amount, we need to bring it to a vote, which we did, I guess, a couple of months ago. And the other thing, the audit committee, as a practical matter, we've done that before the end of the year. That is to review the financials to make sure that the statements match the reports that Husto does and verify that we have the receipts for the expenditures that we've made. All of that has to be done before the 7035 or whatever the form number. It's a form we have to file by the end of January every year that covers the financial and materials. The old guidelines said February, which is too late to even have that. So my suggestion is having November be the part of that. The process for approving the bylaws or the standing rules, excuse me, is to have 75% of members present. Is the threshold for approval of that. So open it up for discussion.
The idea that we approve the article to the 20% form, and then they would be in effect unless the director.
Correct. And with the caveat that if
Can't do that.
then it's 25%, which is the default. Not if we approve it subject to theirs with the understanding that
That, if they don't approve it, we have a serious problem with it. You can look for a waiver, and how that works, it's going to be 15% waiver.
Yeah, there, I think 12-8 may have had some situations with that where, because of the number of cadets who have difficulty getting to the meetings, but what I would suggest, and is that we approve the standing rules requesting 20% quorum subject to the approval of directs and chain of leadership. However, if they do not approve it, then we will stay with the 25%. Does that make sense? Correct. Right. Further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, I will ask for votes by hand again, since we have to have 75% of those present, and just want to make sure we have that document. All those in favor? All those opposed, just make sure. Standing rules are approved. Thank you. Correct. Any other new business?
That's good, because the signature on the, I was looking at really, how many people in this room even knew the guy that signed the last 17 rules that we were able to find. And I think it's John Paul Jones. Ron Foreman. Oh, yeah. That's like 2012. Oh, yeah. Probably the last one I showed up to me.
So you'll need to come back at least in 5 years so we can approve it. Yeah.
Thank you. It's the guy who's got it.
Yeah. Well, we.
No, I don't know.
It has become a little bit easier for us hitting that 25% target The challenge for us has been, we do have some members who live out of town. We have some members who, like to stay in, but don't come, some do come back. But we have had, two who have retired, Charlie and Maggie McCarty, who a number of you know. They have had some health issues and decided that, it was time to retire. They do want to keep in the loop on notifications on different activities and, especially if we have some type of social event. And I told Maggie that if it was something that we're doing and they're able to go and needed or wanted a ride, that we'd be happy to arrange to do that for them.
Came up from her that,
Yes,
spare parts.
yes. So that was actually with Philippe. I have that. But I also quickly picked up the, all the different pamphlets, marine dealer stuff that she had too.
That's all I have. Doing several things. Putting uniform stuff and ribbons. Stuff that I've outgrown. Oh, yeah. I actually got a white formal jacket. You gotta be a little smaller than I am now.
If they could design uniforms that don't shrink. you know. Let's see. There's something else. Anyway. Anyone else have anything for the good of the cause? Okay.
Please go out there and talk, because I don't have any other thing to do for them. They're not here to do so. Thank you.
Okay. We ran a little over, but with us getting started late, we still landed it fairly close to on time. So thank you all for coming tonight. I hate that everybody had such a challenge to get here. But we got a couple of very important things taken care of tonight. Congratulations, Joe and Susan, both. We very much look forward to working with you in the new year. Meeting adjourned.